This is as fragile as the human heart when you lose love. Thank you, thank you. Irshad, thank you. I still remember, what it was like to be your age. It's not that many years ago. It is actually, but I still remember what it's like to be in my 20s, fell in love with a girl, chased her halfway across the world, found out she was dating someone else, and my heart was broken for the first time. And it wasn't open. It didn't open like Rumi said. When my heart was broken, it was painful. It was so painful that I just started my psychiatry training program and I was dealing with other people's pain. And I started wondering, what is the strange nature of pain that heartbreak causes, where I can't sleep, I can't eat, I don't feel good, I feel like I'm a terrible person, unlovable, I don't even feel like life is worth living, everything is colorless and meaningless. And I wondered, why don't we talk about heartbreak in psychiatry? Why don't we deal with this problem which so many people face? And then, like so many of us, I put it out of my mind, I kind of healed, I went ahead with my clinical work and my psychiatry. And then many years later, as a practicing psychiatrist, I would see this recurrently. And after moving back to India, I saw that heartbreak is rampant in this country. I'm not sure why that merits applause and laughter, but I think you recognize that, look, every one of us has either broken, we have had our hearts broken, or we might. And for those of us who have not had our hearts broken, we know that perhaps we've missed out on one of the most epic human experiences ever. Am I right? So, I came back to this country and I found that many people in this country suffer from depression, and that 20% of people commit suicide in this country because of heartbreak. More than 20,000 people, young men and women like you, kill themselves because of heartbreak every year. It is a serious problem. And many people don't kill themselves, but I've seen how their lives spiral out of control into addictions, into meaningless relationships, into emptiness, and people who, when they're much older, have told me, I look back at that time when I broke my heart and I now know that that changed me. And changed me not necessarily in a positive way, but made me more cynical, more angry, and perhaps I don't believe in love anymore. In fact, I sometimes think that one of the marks of maturity and adulthood, sadly, is a cynicism towards love and romance. But that's not true, because if we ask ourselves, what is the most important thing in the world? What is the one reason we are alive? It is to be loved and to love. To be loved and to love is something that money can never buy, but it is something that is so essential to human happiness, but because it's not entirely under our control, we sometimes think it's not important. But you, as the young, you know it's important. You're probably falling in love already, or may have had your hearts broken. I'm tempted to ask how many of you have had your hearts broken. I'm going to do that. If you feel free to raise your hands. How many of you have had your hearts broken? You guys are brave, because I know the rest of you have had your hearts broken. What happens in heartbreak? Why is it such a powerful experience? And how can we use this experience to become a better human being? Because that is what I realized, that this amazing experience can transform us in an incredibly positive manner. But first, let us understand why it happens, what happens. And in order to understand heartbreak, I think we have to understand love. What is love? What is love? Yes, the famous song comes to your mind. What is love? First of all, love is the topic without which we'd have no poets, no philosophers, no artists, no music, no painting, no Alicia, nothing. Right? Thank you. Love is an energy. Love is, you know what love is when you feel it, but there are different kinds of love. There's a love you feel for your mother, your parents. There's a love you feel for a friend. There's a love you feel for your community. There's a love you feel for objects. And there's a love you feel for a person. And then the philosophers tell us there is a deep, unconditional, abiding love that you can feel, and that is not contingent on anything. And when you connect with that deep a love that is a part of every one of us, then you can never lose it, because it's not dependent on someone else. That kind of love does not need a catalyst. It just needs a connection with what we actually have inside of us, which is pure, unadulterated, unconditional love. Now the fact is that all of us, right, all of us, whether you've fallen in love or not, you have experienced the bliss of love. You've experienced it, although you don't remember it, maybe, in your mother's womb. When you were not yet born, but you were aware, as when you were 8 months old in your mother's womb, your brain actually is developed. Your brain is developed, you cannot see. You cannot exactly feel the way you feel now, but you have feelings. And every need of yours is taken care of by the nutrients that are coming into your umbilical cord. They're taken care of so amazingly that you don't even know you have a need. You know, whatever little need there is, you feel comforted. You feel you're bathed in warm amniotic fluid. There is no sense of me and you. There is no sense of I and the other. I am the universe in my mother's womb. And that is pure, unadulterated bliss which we all experienced. And then we were born. And we start crying. We started crying because we realized when the cold air of the environment hit us that, hey, maybe I'm not safe. Maybe I'm not secure. Oh, I need something to eat, I'm going to cry, and my mother takes time to come to me. I realize that maybe I don't always get what I need. For the first time, we've been thrown out of paradise and we have come face to face with existential loneliness. The fact that each one of us is born alone, and I hate to break the party up, but we are all going to die alone. Okay, now by that I mean that we are the only species, the only animal species that is acutely aware of our existential position in the world. There's no other animal, there's no dog that is contemplating its future and saying, will I die alone? Maybe, I don't know, maybe your dog is, but I think most dogs don't. As long as they have a good person who's taking care of them, they are happy. But not you and me, because we learned early on that this is a world which doesn't necessarily fulfill our needs. And so we go through life. You have good parents, perhaps inadequate, whatever. You go through life and then you meet someone. Your eyes lock. You see her, you see him. Some energy goes through your, the air. He's giggling. He knows what I'm talking about. Right? And you feel that electricity, and before you know it, you feel like you found your soulmate. Someone who understands you completely. Someone who completes you. Like Plato said, in the Greek mythology, that he said all human beings were cut into half. And we spend the rest of our life, he said we're all male and female, right? And we are cut into half. And we spend our lifetime, or many lifetimes, searching for the other half of us who will complete us. Psychologically, that is true. Because what happens when you fall in love is that what psychologists call ego boundaries are dissolved. You actually merge with the other. In your mind, you and the other person have become a third entity, an us. And in that us, it feels wonderful, it feels complete, but there's also a sense of insecurity, right? Who hasn't faced insecurity in relationships? There is a sense of insecurity because you now need the other person to feel complete, to feel that same feeling you might have a distant memory of where you were, blissful in your mother's womb. And then sometimes, for many people, unfortunately, you break up. And when you break up, it is really psychologically as if a part of you has been amputated, as if a part of you has been cut. In fact, neurologists have done brain scans of people who have gone through heartbreak, and what they found was that the same part of the brain that is responsible for physical pain is activated in heartbreak. As far as the brain is concerned, heartbreak is the same as if someone has stabbed you in the heart. Other things happen. Endorphin levels in the brain go down. In fact, they've done studies where they've given someone morphine and that takes away the pain of heartbreak because there's a real change in the chemicals in the brain. There's a part of the brain that is stimulated when people use a drug of abuse like cocaine. It stimulates a part of the brain called the mesolimbic system, which releases dopamine. And when dopamine is released, which is a neurochemical, we feel pleasure, we feel a reward. Just like cocaine, love, romantic love, releases dopamine in the mesolimbic system. And so when we go through heartbreak, it's like we are cocaine addicts going through withdrawal, seeking that drug and desiring that drug, and we cannot live until we get that drug back. So heartbreak causes changes, amazing changes in the brain. It affects the body. People who have gone through heartbreak, their cortisol levels rise up, which is a stress hormone that decreases your immune system. You can get infections more easily. Heart rate goes up, blood pressure goes up, the blood vessels start constricting, the stomach gets tight, the digestive system is completely in disarray. All kinds of changes happen. In fact, heartbreak has also been known to literally break your heart. There is a condition called takotsubo cardiomyopathy. Takotsubo is a Japanese word which means octopus spot. And an octopus spot has a little globular thing with a narrow opening. And what happens with people who suffer from severe emotional stress like heartbreak, there's a release of stress hormones. It weakens the walls of the heart. The walls of the heart dilate and thin out, and people can actually die literally from heartbreak. So heartbreak is serious. Heartbreak can kill. Heartbreak hurts, and it hurts thousands of people in this country and across the world. And it is my belief that India in particular, and Indian young men and women are particularly prone to heartbreak because of our cultural history. You see, we are not like the Westerners. We have come from a collectivist society. By collectivist society, I mean that each one of us defines ourselves a little bit by how other people treat us. They've done studies, interesting studies, saying that a Westerner, you know, when they look at a school of fish, they describe one particular fish. Whereas the Easterners look at that and they describe the whole school of fish. That's just the way we see the world. And so for us, rejection hurts much more deeply than for Westerners. We have a variant of a gene called the serotonin transporter gene, which makes us more susceptible to criticism, to disapproval, to rejection. The second thing, of course, is I don't think we've seen heartbreak in our parents. Or at least not the kind of romantic heartbreak we might be experiencing. There's a very different kind of heartbreak, if at all. Right? Because our parents, most of them have had arranged marriages. The kind of love, deep love that developed in those marriages lacks perhaps the intense passion of romantic love. But it is perhaps more long-lasting. So we haven't really understood, we haven't seen heartbreak. This is the first generation that is really dating more, that is going to have romantic relationships, that's going to choose, you're going to choose your own partners, many of you. And therefore, you are probably more susceptible to heartbreak than any previous generation in India. But the good news is that you can use heartbreak and the pain of heartbreak to get insight about yourself. Forgiveness is really important. As someone says, you know, forgiveness is a funny thing. It warms the heart and cools the sting. Right? So if you forgive, you take away your pain. And the first thing to remember is that the act of forgiveness is first and foremost an act of strength, and it is something that you're doing for yourself. So no matter how bad the guy has treated you, you're forgiving him because it helps you. As long as we hold anger in our hearts and our bodies, it hurts us. There's no doubt about it. Heart attacks, cancer, etc., etc. So the first thing to say is, look, this is my opportunity to find my strength, to forgive another human being who has hurt me. And I can do that if I have compassion for that human being and understand that that person is not a villain probably. They have their own issues and they have hurt me because I got close, we got close, and something happened. As human beings do, we hurt each other. But once I forgive myself, I feel cleansed and I approach the next relationship fresh. We don't want to carry wounds from one relationship to another, and we embark into that relationship just like, in a sense, what Krishna told Arjuna in the battlefield. He said, don't ask what the reward and punishment is. You love this person, you think it's good, then that is what you do. Enjoy the process, immerse yourself in that love, and that love, remember, comes from your heart. The other person is a catalyst, but that love is yours, it's always yours, it will always be yours. Thank you very much. You guys have been amazing. Thank you very much. Thanks.